Yo, what's up? It's Pat Reacts. We're checking out another video. This is created by Jubilee. I've covered them many of times. It's ranking high schoolers by GPA. I saw this a decent while ago, but I think it's interesting. And I wanted to talk about it. So we'll get right into it. And as you know, I'll probably talk too much, but sheesh. Oh, sorry.
Band, so
Band kids are
smart. Telling you.
If you had to rank yourself against others based on a specific trait, what would it say about how you see them and how they see you? We asked 6 high school students to rank each other based on what they assumed each other's GPAs are. Then we rearranged them by their actual GPA. This is ranking.
I guess I'm going first. I used to be kind of obsessed with like homework and like doing well and all that stuff, but after quarantine I realized that I was like missing out on like the actual high school experience. So this year I'm involved in a lot. I'm the president of the Black Student Union. I'm also the president of our school's anti-racism and equity task force, a senior class of 22 ambassador, and I'm also on the dance team.
Sheesh, they're gonna give all their
Yeah, I was not in clubs.
they're gonna give their whole
But I was
resume.
in track. I was managing my business, which I'm currently still managing with my mom. I don't know, I've never been a part of any of that. That sounds really
You
cool.
have a business though.
I
That's
know.
really cool.
So my freshman year,
Yeah, but what's a business? What's she actually doing? And hey, maybe she's killing it and she's making lots of money. You don't have to even graduate high school to be successful in life. Many people that have dropped out or graduated high school and not gone any further and have been fine. So it'll be interesting to hear these people's perspectives.
I was president of my show choir. And then sophomore year, I was dance captain of my show choir. And then now I'm doing social media director for my dance team, which I've been on for 3 years. I'm also in National Honor Society at my school.
I was on track and I did swim, and then I'm also a musician.
You know, I will say this too, is that I always love these things because I feel like people always focus on the wrong things. So they're listing all these supposed like characteristics that may or may not make them intelligent. But I think most of the time, the number one thing that is the easiest way to predict whether somebody's on the higher level or lower level of like intelligence. Now, again, this is GPA. So I guess in a way, you know, there are going to be variations. So even though somebody might appear like really smart and talk extremely eloquently or whatever, that does not necessarily mean that they're going to have a great GPA. But still, it'll be interesting to see how they go about this and if they get it right, because they basically are going to have to rearrange themselves with where they think they fall.
So I was in band for all 4 years.
I did like track, cross country. I'm also in a few clubs. There's Period Poverty, Earth Club is another one, and then I do like a lot of community service.
I was really worried about some people because I think sometimes GPA can be deceptive, because I know a lot of people who are very careless about school and just go with the flow.
Yeah, like me. Like, I stopped caring about it. So I never cared about getting, you know, A's in every class. Just wasn't my thing, you know. But when I do take it serious and I do actually like focus, I would get A's in everything. But like, especially my senior year, I was like, I don't care. I really don't care. When I got to college, you know, I obviously cared a little bit more, and I got A's and B's in college while I went to college. But, you know, again, I never graduated because we could get into that at a later date. Sheesh. That's a whole can of worms.
Low, and then proceed to have like 4.6s.
I feel like grades are not really a measure of intelligence or worth. It's more so like how good you are at like the school system.
Yeah, and I agree with her on this, is that like how intelligent you are, how fluid your intelligence is, how much critical thinking you can do, really has nothing to do with GPA. GPA is simply based off of a system that is standardized to try and like give a grade as to how competent somebody is. But the problem is that they're if you are fairly intelligent, they are extremely easy to manipulate and figure out the answers without even needing to know all of the answers, etc. You know, I never did homework, even in high school, and I still got A's and B's because they always do multiple choice, and multiple choice is so freaking easy, or at least the majority of the tests that I took that were multiple choice, it's so easy to narrow it down to one or two answers that even could possibly be the answer. And then just using a little bit of deductive reasoning and saying what actually kind of makes more sense. Voila. I got so many questions right that I didn't actually know specifically, was this the exact correct answer? You know, but when I went and like thought about it and went through, it was like, okay, right answer, you know. So just because you study every night, etc., does not mean whether you're going to get good grades or not. I mean, a lot of it has to do with, it does have to do with hard work, but you can get away with getting really good grades just because you're good at taking tests, etc. And that's why GPA is kind of a joke. And I think a lot of employers care less and less about your GPA because they can hire a 4.0 GPA and they suck at the job. You know, they hire a 3.0 GPA and they're great at the job. There's a lot that goes into what's going to make you successful in the actual workforce. And, you know, college and high school don't really prepare you for that. They only prepare you to have the basic knowledge and fundamentals to do the basic job. And you might still fail. There's so much more to being like a great manager or being a good engineer or, you know, being a great school teacher than just a school system can teach you how to do, you know.
In the US,
Like the GPA system and all that, for me personally, I don't feel like it defines who you are.
Yeah, I can agree. I've never cared about school in a way, and my parents always would say, like, do what makes you happy, and they would never pressure me.
Yeah, and in my family, my pressure is mainly on trying to be top ranks and to be the first one to go to college.
Yeah, growing up, my brothers didn't do the greatest, and so my parents kind of shifted onto me.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't have that much pressure on me though. It's more just kind of like I wanted to do good, I guess.
What classes do you guys take? Like any AP classes, any honors classes?
I was like, what? How do they even have the energy? Like, I don't even have energy for normal classes. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go with it.
She's taking like 5 APs, so I feel like she should like stay.
You're taking 5
you're
too.
taking 5 as
so
well.
I would say you're
Oh,
up.
So I feel
great.
like she should push
Yeah,
up.
probably.
I don't know, like you're tricky, I can't figure out.
You're in
I would say
NHS.
you're up.
Yeah.
Okay, but like I feel like that doesn't bring it. Anyways, when they were placing me in the front, I was just like, maybe it's like the stereotype also, like Asians tend to have the stereotype of having really high GPAs.
He also took a lot of APs too.
Yeah, you might be up too.
I feel like you
The thing is, you don't actually have to have an insane GPA to be an AP, so I feel like this is a dumb thing for them to measure themselves off of.
should be like first, honestly.
Well, also, do
I
AP
feel like this
classes
is
mean
like-
everything though?
Well, for
Like, we have to
GPA.
think about
Yes,
for
thank
GPA,
God
yeah.
somebody
Extra
said
point.
What
it.
if you don't
Yeah,
have
that's
AP
true.
classes, but you had a really good, like,
Like if you take regular, you can't get over 4. So that's just like what I'm thinking.
I feel like
Yeah,
I should
yeah.
still switch with you though. I just have a gut feeling.
I have a feeling that you're like two.
Yeah.
Which the fact that they even allow people to go over 4.0 GPA is just stupid. It's like, when does it stop? Like, you know, I remember when it was like 4.1 or 4.2 because they would do like extracurricular activities, you know, like do bonus homework and stuff, and they would get like 5 extra points, so they'd get an 105 on their test instead of 100, and it was like, what's the point? You know, it's just kind of stupid. And I think it's just gotten even more stupid to where it's like even having a 4.0 doesn't mean as much as it used to. It's like you have to set a standard and say this is the standard, and if people are just always getting it, maybe you make it harder to pass the test. So the people that really understand the material are the ones that get the 4.0, and the people that understand most of it get less than that. Like, make your tests better. Don't just add extra stuff that they can like somehow subvert the point system to like go higher. It's just kind of stupid. I think the whole system is just a joke.
Yeah, I feel like you should.
Glad I'm not in school anymore because it looks like it's got even worse.
I think you have.
Are you sure?
Yes, I have more faith in you than I do myself.
Are you sure?
Well, I sort of had like a first impression that I was probably one of the.
Also, I think the kid in the red is full of crap, and he's trying to just like downplay that he's smarter than he appears. If I remember correctly, he's pretty high up there.
Lower ones, so it was more of a placing them above me than placing them below me. Yeah, because I feel like you three are definitely like
Yeah, you
top
guys
three.
are.
Because like NHS, a bunch of AP classes.
I don't know, like my grades drop over quarantine, so I don't know.
Yeah, that,
I mean,
we have to take that into
grades
account.
drops over quarantine.
I was doing good during quarantine, but when we came back, it was such a big shift because we were online for so long.
Yeah, I think online lectures, I just can't focus. Like I'd literally just like probably play video games in the background. I don't want my teachers to see this, but.
I think I'm the opposite. Like I focus so much better at home.
I was a horror.
Yeah, I've done that before. I was doing defensive driving and playing video games at the same time. Imagine that. And I still passed all their tests and quizzes and everything. I would just, because they would make you stay on a certain like page for say 5 minutes, and I would read it like way faster, and I'm like, I don't understand why you need to be on this page for 5 minutes, So then while I was waiting after I had read it, or like watch the video and I was still waiting, then I would just like do something else and just let it sit there, and then I would like go next when it finally popped up. But they wanted you to have to spend exactly 6 hours at defensive driving, when in reality it's like, just teach the information, and if people can do it faster, let him go. My God, you're holding them hostage for no reason. You could have given them this class in like 3 hours and said, now you have to do like 3 hours of community service. I probably would have been a better driver if that had been the penalty.
Horrible student during COVID.
Not that I was bad. I got a lot of
My
speeding
teachers
tickets.
would like email me like, please just do this assignment.
When quarantine happened, and then I started my business, and I just like, my grades dropped. My friends were telling me like, so you're not smart? Like, what's wrong? I'm like, no, I am. It's just I'm not a school person. Like, I had more time to work on my business, and it just like changed my perspective all the way. Like, if this is gonna be my life, like I love it. Like I'm gonna just keep going with my business.
Should we do like
Move
a
it
like
over here
vote,
so you can
maybe
see
like
the
each
people's
person?
names.
And,
I just
Like
named
a
them.
raise of hands, who thinks she's one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
I think so.
I'm probably.
Looking like
That's why I was like, maybe.
Okay. Should we think she's second?
Yeah.
She's second, yeah.
maybe.
I think you are fourth.
Yeah. I was thinking that. A
Yes.
little switch.
Okay.
Then to it.
You're in band, so that doesn't make sense. But like band kids probably.
Band kids are.
Band kids
Band kids are smart.
smart.
Because you have to have some reading comprehension to be able to read notes.
Yeah, that's true.
As a former band kid.
That's a good point.
Okay.
But I feel like you might surprise us.
You're gonna surprise us.
He is. He's gonna like.
Yeah. Did you take any honors?
I took a couple.
I kind of feel like you should go like up.
I think we should switch.
Yeah.
I genuinely think we should switch.
I think you should switch with me.
No.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Do you actually want to do rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors. Okay. And I stay here.
Oh, okay.
Do you feel good about this?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right. First, we have June and Daniela tied with a 2.0.
Shocker, dude. I didn't
Next
think it was
up,
that
we
low.
have Jasmine with a 3.8. Then we have David with a 4.04. Then we have Joe with a 4.2.
Oh wow,
Dude,
we
we
got
got
the
it.
order right.
Sienna with a 4.6.
Like, bro, it's
we're right about the.
kind of ridiculous. A 4.6 GPA. Like, come on, dude. No way. No shot. They actually got it right though, which is crazy because I don't think they generally do that.
Information do you think made it possible for you guys to get the lineup
I think it was the AP classes.
Yeah.
Once I heard API, I said, oh,
No, it's not just the APA. It's like how they talk, etc. You'll notice that these three talk, I feel like, much more succinctly. They're very well spoken, and I think that's a big part of, like, right off the bat, you can tell whether someone's fairly intelligent, or like highly intelligent by the vocabulary they use. It's not just how they speak, it's what words they use when they speak.
You can kind of tell like how people approach school by how they talk about it.
Yeah.
Like if they just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. Do you know if you're gonna be valedictorian? Because that's like the GPA valedictorians get
I
at
guess my
school.
school is really competitive. Yeah, no, it's definitely not me. There's people who have like higher GPAs than me at my school, like 5s. It's crazy.
Oh my
That is a
God.
thing.
Middle school, I like failed 6th grade. The people were just like flunking too, and so I was just kind of like following the crowd. I still follow the crowd, but I guess like the crowd is like better and they're doing better in school, so it's helped me more than anything.
Like starting like in middle school, I started like struggling with like chronic illness and stuff. And so I guess that's when I also realized that like if people are like going through something like at home or like just in life in general, then their grades might not reflect like how much they're actually good at school.
And sometimes like even the college system, like they'll accept people with lower GPAs because they see more potential.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I feel like it's like more about like how well-rounded you are. That's how I was saying. Like you would probably get into like such a good college.
Because you have a business.
I was like,
Yeah.
But we got it right.
I like how they try and be nice to each other too. It's like, God, you would probably get into a good school. Like, and it's like, who cares, man? Life's so much more than just going to school, etc. Like, use it to your advantage. I think the best thing you can do is just learn how to read and write and do basic arithmetic and critically think. Past that, I don't think school teaches you much except for like how to like do well in a system, which you could translate to work. Unless you're getting into like the STEM fields where they're actually going to teach you things like difficult math and calculations on physics, etc. I'm not saying school is useless. I just think that a lot of people go to school for the wrong reasons and they end up spending a ridiculous amount of money on something that isn't going to get them a insanely good job. And instead, you know, you could have worked towards something else and just gotten on-the-job experience that translates better onto a resume and then get you a better job down the road. So that's the end of this video. Pretty goofy, you know, like, come on, bro. GPA is so last year. It's so like 2019 or something. No. I'm so glad I'm not in school anymore. Like, I hated school so much. So, I mean, there was teachers I loved in school and there was things that I loved to learn about. But so much of what I've learned and so much of what has like changed my like ideology and what I believe today, the decisions I make has really nothing to do with school. And mostly to do with, you know, you just searching for the truth, trying to find, trying to make logical sense of like what people are telling you, etc. You know, never just taking somebody simply on what they say and always trying to like parse it out and say, okay, this makes sense, but this doesn't actually completely make sense. And this definitely doesn't make sense. So like, where could you go from that? You know? School's a good basis for that because I think you have to have like reading and writing and you have to be able to have good reading comprehension skills, and math is good to know on a basic level, but there's a lot of things that, you know, most humans will never need calculus, you know. Even a lot of engineers will rarely use it. And a lot of times it's like, you know, calculators do so much for you nowadays, and Excel spreadsheets. I mean, once you figure out a lot of formulas, all you need to do is make the correct measurements and you just plug them into your Excel spreadsheets and it tells you everything for you. So we live in a pretty interesting society. Now, obviously, if technology failed tomorrow, a lot of things that we take for granted would become much harder to do, and you would probably have to really understand your math again. So it's good that they teach them all these basics, etc. And I think college does have its place, but you're not going to make as it is not necessarily the greatest idea in today's day and age with how expensive college is to just and to care so much about your GPA. Go to a school, learn what you can. Don't go to a school that charges ridiculous tuition fees, because most likely you're not even going to get an education that really helps you in anything more than just a piece of paper that some rich people might look at and say, well, you didn't go to a good enough school, so you're not good at the job. But I feel like a lot of those kind of jobs, it's about who you know and how rich your family is, where you come from, etc. There's so much more that goes into it getting a job than just like how well you did in school, etc. I don't know what the statistics are, but most people get jobs because they knew somebody, not because they're the most competent. And until you get to high-level jobs where there is a large pool of candidates that are all highly competitive, like, say, being a vice president of a company, then yes, your credentials do matter, and how you speak and what you have on your resume, those all matter. But to get into the baseline place of most jobs is much easier than people think, and they don't give themselves enough credit. But just going to school does not make you smart. It doesn't. And that's a lie that they tell you, is that you're going to be smart just because you went to school. IQ has nothing to do with being smart in the traditional sense that, like, being IQ has nothing to do with being educated. Not IQ doesn't have anything to do with being smart. Obviously, if you're smart, you probably have a good IQ. But education does not equate to IQ. You might have a higher chance of having a better IQ because you were well educated, but there is only a certain base level of education you need, and then past that, it's about your mentality and your mind and how you pursue it. Anyways, appreciate you guys listening. Peace out till next time.